Let me start with a little riddle. Some people like it cold. Some prefer it hot. It can be mild or bold, served in a cup or a pot. It's ground, boiled, tamped, and shot. And if I had to guess, you probably like it a lot. Yep. Coffee. Today, coffee feels inseparable from American life, almost as American as apple pie or baseball. Which is funny, because the US isn't even in the top 10 countries for coffee consumption. And yet, for millions of people, the day doesn't really begin until that first sip. Maybe it's a simple black coffee. Maybe it's a very specific order like a venti, no foam, half CAF mocha frappe. Either way, chances are, it came from Starbucks. But here's the thing. Not that long ago, coffee in America was kind of terrible. Weak. Watery. Cheap. Something you drank at home from a can, or refilled endlessly at a diner. So how did Starbucks not only dominate the coffee industry, but completely change how Americans think about coffee? To answer that, we need to go back to Seattle. And into the mind of one very persistent man. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's talk about how Starbucks, and one green mermaid, changed the world. Our story starts in Seattle in the early 1970s. 3 college friends, absolute coffee nerds, were talking about starting a business. At the time, America didn't really care about good coffee. But one of them, Gordon Boker, definitely did. He was obsessed with quality beans, so obsessed that he regularly traveled to Vancouver just to buy better coffee than anything available in the US. Eventually, friends started asking him to bring some back for them too. And suddenly, a light bulb went off. What if they sold high-quality coffee beans to Americans who had never tasted anything like it before? There was just one problem. They didn't really know how to run a business. So they went to learn from the best, Alfred Peet. Peet ran a small but influential coffee shop in Berkeley, California. He sourced great beans, roasted them himself, and treated coffee like something worth respecting. Under his guidance, the 3 friends learned how to roast, source, and evaluate coffee properly. In 1971, they opened a small shop near Pike Place Market in Seattle. They called it Starbucks. At first, Starbucks didn't sell drinks at all. Just beans. Tea. Spices. Brewing equipment. No lattes. No cappuccinos. Not even a cup of coffee. And honestly, they were doing just fine. Then one day, a salesman walked in. His name was Howard Schultz. At the time, Schultz worked for a company selling high-end European coffee machines. And he noticed something strange. This tiny coffee shop in Seattle was buying more machines than huge department stores. So he went to see why. The moment he walked into Starbucks, he was hit by the smell of freshly ground coffee. Someone handed him a sample, French press Sumatra. He took one sip, and everything changed. Schultz later said that, up until that moment, he had never tasted a truly good cup of coffee. He wasn't just impressed. He felt like he'd found home. He begged the founders to hire him. They said no. So he asked again. And again. A year later, they finally gave in. In 1982, Howard Schultz joined Starbucks as Director of Sales and Marketing. In 1983, Schultz went to Milan, Italy, for a trade show. It was his first time there. And honestly, it blew his mind. Everywhere he looked, there were cafes. People standing at the bar, chatting, laughing, watching baristas make drinks right in front of them. Coffee wasn't rushed. It wasn't hidden behind a counter. It was an experience. Schultz realized something important: Starbucks wasn't in the wrong business. It was just in the wrong part of the business. So he went back to Seattle, excited, full of ideas, and pitched the founders on creating Italian-style cafes. They were not impressed. Their bean business was working. Why mess with success? Eventually, they agreed to test the idea at one location. It worked. Customers loved it. But the founders still didn't believe this was Starbucks' future. In 1985, frustrated and exhausted, Howard Schultz walked away. Schultz didn't give up. He opened his own cafe called Il Giornale, using Starbucks beans, Italian ideas, and one big belief: coffee shops should be a third place. Not home, not work, but somewhere in between. Meanwhile, Starbucks ran into trouble. After buying Peet's Coffee, the original founders realized they were stretched too thin. By 1986, they decided to sell Starbucks. And the person they trusted most to take it over? Howard Schultz. There was just one catch. The price was $3.8 million. Schultz didn't have anywhere close to that. Still, he was given 60 days to raise the money. So he pitched investors on an idea that sounded kind of insane at the time. $3 coffee. Italian names. A cafe culture Americans weren't used to. Most people paid 50 cents for coffee, if they drank it at all. But somehow, Schultz pulled it off. In 1987, he bought Starbucks. Once Schultz took over, Starbucks exploded. Stores popped up everywhere. New cities. New states. New countries. By 1992, Starbucks went public. By 1996, it had 1,000 stores. The strategy was simple: be everywhere. Look familiar. Feel predictable. Whether you walked into a Starbucks in Seattle or Tokyo, you knew exactly what you were getting. And it worked. But then, things went too far. Automation replaced craftsmanship. Speed replaced connection. Drive-thrus replaced conversation. Starbucks grew faster than ever, but it lost something important: its soul. When the global financial crisis hit in 2008, Starbucks was in serious trouble. Customers stopped buying expensive drinks. Stores were cannibalizing each other. Quality was slipping. Once again, Starbucks turned to Howard Schultz. He returned as CEO. And he didn't mess around. He shut down hundreds of stores. Fired top executives. And in a dramatic move, closed every U.S. Starbucks for an afternoon just to retrain baristas. It cost millions. But Schultz believed it was necessary. Slow down. Refocus. Remember what made Starbucks special in the first place. The gamble paid off. Under Schultz's leadership, again, Starbucks recovered. It expanded globally. Invested in digital ordering. Launched one of the most successful loyalty apps in retail history. But more importantly, it stayed true to a philosophy Schultz learned as a kid. Growing up in public housing in Brooklyn, he watched his father lose his job after getting injured. No insurance, no safety net, no support. Schultz promised himself he'd build a company that treated people better. Today, Starbucks calls its employees partners. Offers healthcare, tuition support, and stock options, even to baristas. And love it or hate it, Starbucks didn't just sell coffee. It changed how America drinks it. If this story proves anything, it's that success isn't just about growth. It's about remembering why you started. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, and maybe grab another cup.